A reading from the book of the prophet Isaiah. The Lord spoke to Ahaz, saying, "Ask for a sign from the Lord, your God. Let it be as deep as the netherworld, or as high as the sky." But Ahaz answered, "I will not ask. I will not tempt the Lord." Then Isaiah said, "Listen, O house of David. Is it not enough for you to weary people? Must you also weary my God? Therefore the Lord himself will give you this sign. The virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall name him Emmanuel." The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Blessed are you who believed that what was spoken to you by the Lord would be fulfilled. It's a beautiful closing to the Luke's Gospel that we heard this morning. And reading this particular reading from Isaiah, it kind of echoes throughout, because it isn't the case for Ahaz. I will not ask, I will not tempt the Lord. The New Testament points to us that in dealing with signs, in the 16th chapter of Matthew, the Pharisees and Sadducees ask a sign from Jesus himself. His works of miracles show us that you're truly Christ. But Jesus says, "You are truly an evil and unfaithful generation." One, he alludes that the generation is not ready to see, but two, that they ask to see a sign. But that this is different in this case because the Lord himself is inviting to ask the sign through the prophet Isaiah. But Ahaz, in the preceding chapter, the preceding text at the beginning of this chapter, you have to understand where Ahaz is coming from. The king of Judah is worried about the king of Israel and the king of Aram attacking him. And once more, the Assyrian forces have control over the territory, so the attack is also to draw away from the ties with the Assyrian king. So in that case, I will not ask, I will not tempt the Lord. Ahaz is saying to Isaiah, I'd rather have allegiance with the Assyrian king than to hear your own words. So this text presents two problems for us. One, the timing and the immediacy of the sign. When will the sign come that you speak of? And two, what is the grandeur? Or when is this sign indeed going to come to fulfillment? Now, it was a coincidence with the song that was selected for this evening. This text reminds me of a scene from the second movie, The Lord of the Rings, The Second Tower. Gandalf, before he departs to seek recruitment for the battle at Helm's Deep, he says to Aragorn, "Look to my coming. The first light on the 5th day. At dawn, look to the east." Now, if you remember from the movie, it's a battle of epic proportions because it's 10,000 versus 1,000. But Gandalf sets out to get an additional 1,000 to help out. So, it's not really turning favors. 2,000 at 10,000 is still the tables turned. But he says, "Look to the east." Now we look to Ahaz in retrospect to Isaiah. Isaiah says, "Ask the Lord for a sign." The Lord himself is asking Isaiah to ask for a sign, but still there is no assurance there. So what's the difference between Ahaz's case and Aragorn's case? In The Lord of the Rings, there is certainty. There is certainty there because Gandalf says that he will be there after 5 days. Aragorn goes even further to even ride out with King Theoden into the midst of the battle to hold off the enemies until the 5th day. He is certain. Now for us, we have December 25th ingrained in here. It's already certain for us. We're in the time of fulfillment. We even light this Advent wreath to remind us of how many weeks until it leads to the birth of Christ. So put ourselves in Ahaz's case where the fulfillment isn't right there yet. So for the prophet to say, ask a sign from the Lord, is that enough for us? Is that enough for you? Is that enough for Ahaz? So what's the hidden message here? Well, preceding this text, also early in the chapter, Isaiah warns Ahaz. He says, unless your faith is firm, you shall not stand firm. Unless your faith is firm, you shall not stand firm. So the key here is the faith. Because with faith, the time, the immediacy is no longer a concern for us. Because we're not concerned about when will the sign come, because we believe the sign will come. And two, how do I know that this sign is truly from God? Or what will this sign look like? With faith, we're not concerned about that anymore. Because when the sign comes, we know that it will truly be from God. So our vocation candidates here, as you join us for Vespers, as you journey on, take for what it is that the signs are revealed to you this Advent, and to us as well as we anticipate the Lord's birth. The time, or what the sign will look like in the discernment, or the birth of Christ in our own lives again, once Christmas is done, it won't matter, because we have the faith. It is the faith that will tell us that the sign is coming on God's time, at the right time. But two, that the sign that's coming, whether if that's someone saying that you'd be a good priest, or a prayer, a highlight from your own prayer, that sign will be from God because you'll know it. Blessed are you who believed that what was spoken to you by the Lord would be fulfilled.